What repressed memory makes you shut down every time you think of it? My friend Angeline called slurring that she was too hungover to work her overnight shift at the women's shelter and begged me to cover. She said it was mostly just keeping an eye on things. I got to the shelter at 11 and realized I was completely alone. The shelter was small, only 12 beds, and everyone was already asleep since lights out was at 10. I sat at the front desk trying to figure out the ancient computer system when someone knocked on the locked door asking for tampons, which took me 20 minutes to find in the supply closet. Then the smoke alarm went off because someone was secretly smoking in the bathroom, and I had to reset it while my hands shook, terrified everyone would wake up and I'd have no idea how to handle them. Around 1 a.m., I was finally feeling calmer when someone started crying in their room, and I had to figure out whether to intervene or let them be. By 2 a.m., the building was dead quiet, and I was exhausted, reading through Angeline's notes about medications and special protocols, when the front door buzzer went off. On the security camera, I saw a woman hunched over, pressing the buzzer repeatedly, and when I opened the door, she practically fell inside. Sophie couldn't have been older than 25, wearing a restaurant uniform with a name tag, and she was pressing both hands against her stomach where dark blood was spreading across her white shirt. She looked up at me with huge, terrified eyes and said, "He found me at work. I need help." I caught her as her legs gave out and lowered her to the floor, seeing 3 separate stab wounds in her abdomen, blood pooling fast on the floor. I called 911 with shaking fingers, putting them on speaker while I ran for towels, and the dispatcher said the ambulance was 20 minutes out because of a multi-car accident downtown. Sophie was crying and holding my hand so tight while I pressed towels against her wounds, the blood soaking through immediately, and I realized I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. She kept saying, "I have a daughter. She's 2. Her name is Lily. Please don't let me die." I told her she'd be okay while applying pressure, but there was so much blood and I could feel it warm and sticky on my hands, and I'd never seen this much blood in my life. I didn't know if I should elevate her legs or keep her flat, if I should remove the towels when they soaked through or keep adding more on top, if I was pressing too hard or not hard enough. Sophie was getting paler by the second, and her grip on my hand was weakening, and I was completely alone with no one to help or tell me what to do. She whispered that her ex had found out where she worked, even though she'd changed jobs 3 times and he'd waited in the parking lot with a knife. I kept pressure on the worst wound, but blood was literally pooling around us and my hands kept slipping and I didn't know if I was making it worse. Sophie started shaking and said she was cold, and I remembered from some TV show that was bad, but I didn't know what to do about it. I grabbed a blanket from the desk with one bloody hand while keeping pressure with the other, trying to cover her while she whispered about Lily. She said Lily loved dolphins and they were going to the aquarium for her birthday next week, and I kept talking to her about dolphins even though I knew nothing about them, just making stuff up to keep her conscious. The dispatcher kept saying 15 more minutes, then 12, then 10, and Sophie's lips were turning blue. She made me promise to tell Lily she loved her, and I kept saying she'd tell her herself, but my voice was cracking because I could see her dying and I didn't know how to stop it. Blood had soaked through 8 towels and was spreading across the floor, and my knees were wet with it and my arms were burning from pressing down. Sophie's eyes started rolling back and I tapped her face, begging her to stay awake, but she wasn't responding to my voice anymore. Her breathing became these tiny gasps with long pauses between them, and I didn't know if I